Hey guys, MGL here with another video. Today we're going to look at some interesting tips when dealing with percentages. Let's start with the basics. We need to be able to mentally work out 1% of a number and 10% of a number. We should also know 50% of a number, which means half or divided by 2. Finally, 25% means a quarter or divided by 4. Let's take the number 3,200. So normally, to find the percentage, this is what we'll do. We first write it like this, and then we can cross out the zeros from the 100, and cross out the zeros from 3,200. Finally, multiply 32 times 1, which equals 32. Instead of doing all this, 1% of 3,200 is as simple as jumping the decimal backwards twice, and you get 32. 1% of 630. Once again, jump the decimal backwards twice and you get 6.30. 1% of 7,395. Jump the decimal backward twice and you get your answer. It's that straightforward. For 10%, all you do is jump the decimal back once. So 10% of 3,200 will be 320. 10% of 630 will be 63. And finally, 10% of 7,395 will be 739.5. If you know these two concepts, you can find the percentages of numbers with ease. For 50%, all you do is half the number. It's that simple. So 50% of 3,200 will be half of 32 is 16, and then you just add 2 zeros. You can watch my video on how to divide by 2 to help you work out 50%. The link is in the description box below. 50% of 630 will be half of 600 is 300. Half of 30 is 15. 300 plus 15 is 315. 50% of 7,395 will be half of 7,000 is 3,500 plus half of 300 is 150. 3,500 plus 150 is 3,650 plus half of 90 is 45. 3,650 plus 45 is 3,695. Finally, half of 5 is 2.5. Add this to 3,695 and you get 3,697.5. For 25%, divide by 4, or if that's a little tricky, just half twice. Since I've already found the half once for 50%, for 25%, I just need to half the answer again. So 25% of 3,200 will be half is 1,600, so 25% will be half of 1,600, which is 800. 25% of 630, half is 315. 25% will be half of 315. Half of 300 is 150, and half of 15 is 7.5. 150 plus 7.5 is 157.5. And finally, 50% of 7,395 is 3,697.5. So 25% of 7,395 will be half of 3,697.5. Half of 3,000 is 1,500. Half of 600 is 300. Half of 90 is 45. Half of 7 is 3.5. Finally, half of 0.5 is 0.25. Let's add them. 1,500 plus 300 is 1,800. 1,800 plus 57 is 1,845 plus 3.5 is 1848.5. Finally, 1848.5 plus 0.25 is 1848.75. So now we have covered some of the basics. Let's solve some percentages. These four are some of the easiest percentages to solve, and here's why. One cool thing about percentage is that all you are doing is multiplying and dividing, which means you can carry out the operations in any order. So, looking at 36% of 50, how are we taught to work it out? When we see a percentage sign, we write 36 as 36 over 100. And when we see the word of, we know it means to multiply. So, of 50 means to multiply by 50. So essentially, to get the answer, what we are doing is 36 times 50 divided by 100. Or 36 divided by 100 times 50. Now, suppose the question was 50% of 36. Let's write the working for that. We can write it as 50 times 36 divided by 100. What do you notice? In both cases, we are still multiplying 36 and 50, and we are dividing by 100. What does this tell us? This tells us that 36% of 50 is the same as 50% of 36. Now going back to the first question, isn't it really easy to work out the answer? Now, instead of reading the question as 36% of 50, which is harder to calculate, we will read it as 50% of 36. We know that 50% is just halving, so half of 36 is 18. 64% of 50 is the same as 50% of 64, and 50% of 64 is 32. 28% of 25 is the same as 25% of 28. 25% means a quarter, which means you can just divide 28 by 4 and you will get the answer 7. It's that easy. 72% of 25, once again, is the same as 25% of 72. So, you can just divide the number by 4. Since 72 is a larger number and dividing by 4 may be tricky, what you can do is half 72 twice. Half of 72 is 36. And half of 36 is 18, and that's your answer. The next shortcut I'm going to show you is going to help you find percentages of numbers like these. So if you go back to the formula, we see that percentages are divided by 100. Since 100 has 2 zeros and these questions have 2 zeros, we can just cross all of them out. You are just left with 2 digits. Just multiply these 2 digits and you have your answer. 3 times 8 is 24. So 30% of 80 is 24. 6 times 7 is 42, which means 60% of 70 is 42. Finally, 2 times 4 is 8, so 20% of 40 is 8. This method can work for larger numbers too. Let's take a few examples. 30% of 800. 2 of the zeros can be crossed out. Depending on how good your multiplication is, you have 2 ways of solving this. You could just multiply 3 times 80 and get the answer 240. Or you can once again multiply 3 times 8, which is 24, and then just add the remaining 0. 60% of 700. Ignore 2 zeros. You can multiply 70 times 6. Or 7 times 6 and then just add the 0. Finally, 20% of 4,800. Ignore the 2 zeros, and now you just have to multiply 480 by 2. This is a large number, so it's easier to multiply 48 by 2 and you get 96. Then just add a 0. Now we look at how to work out all types of percentages in the quickest way possible. Let's work these out. %32 of 85. At first glance, you would think to yourself that there is no way I can solve this without a calculator. Trust me, you can, and with ease. Like most of my videos, the trick here is to make the numbers simpler to deal with. So we will look at 32% as 10% plus 10% plus 10% plus 1% plus 1%. Now, working out 10% of a number is pretty easy, right? Just move the decimal back once. So 10% of 85 is 8.5. And to find the 1%, you just move the decimal back twice. So 1% of 85 is 0.85. Now all you have to do is add. 8.5 plus 8.5 plus 8.5 is the same as 3 times 8.5. Multiplying with decimals is very easy. Ignore the decimal for a moment and multiply 85 times 3. And I have uploaded a video of how to multiply single digits with a 2-digit number from the left. 3 times 80 is 240. 3 times 5 is 15. 240 plus 15 is 255. Now we have to put the decimal back. The question is, where do we place the decimal? If you look at 8.5, how many digits are there after the decimal? There is 1 digit after the decimal. So we make sure that there is only 1 digit after the decimal. So 8.5 times 3 is 25.5. Now we add 0.85 plus 0.85. Or we multiply 0.85 times 2. Just like before, ignore the decimal and just multiply 85 by 2. And your answer is 170. In this case, there are 2 digits after the decimal, so we make sure that the answer also has 2 digits after the decimal. So 0.85 times 2 is 1.70. Finally, we just add the numbers 25.50 plus 1.70, and the answer is 25 plus 1 is 26, plus 0.50 is 26.50, plus 0.70 is 27.20. I know this does not seem easy, but once you get the hang of the concept, you'll be carrying out most of the calculations mentally. 51% of 720. This is very easy. First, you find 50% of 720. Then add 1% of 720. So 50% of 720 is very easy. You can halve 72, which is 36, and then add a 0. Your answer is 360. And 1% of 720 is just moving the decimal back twice. Your answer is 7.2. Now we add. 360 plus 7.2 is 367.2. That's it. Wasn't that quick? 28% of 4,300. Here we will find 25% and 3%. 25% of 4,300 is as simple as halving twice. Half of 4,000 is 2,000 and half of 2,000 is 1,000. And half of 300 is 150 and half of 150 is 75. So 25% is 1,075. Now to find the 3% of 4,300. We know that 1% is 43. All we do is multiply that by 3. 40 times 3 is 120, and 3 times 3 is 9. So 3% of 4,300 is 129. 1,075 plus 129 is 1,075 plus 100 is 1,175. 1,175 plus 20 is 1,195. Finally, 1,195 plus 9 is 1,204, and that's your answer. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to smash that notification bell so that you get notified every time I post a video. Until next time, bye!